This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. So we've been talking about Jeff Bezos's super sailing yacht in the last few episodes, tracking the vessel crossing the Atlantic from the Mediterranean. Kind of normal for this time of year for boats to be heading out that way. The reason why we were tracking really was because of the efforts to try to hide the fact that they were crossing and even arriving in Port Everglades. But the yacht has arrived in Port Everglades, as we mentioned in the last video, but the vessel is receiving the royal treatment, it seems, by the police in Port Everglades. The sailing yacht, which is the largest sailing yacht in the world at 127 meters or 416 feet, arrived in Florida last week after the Atlantic crossing. So since her arrival in the port, which is usually reserved for cargo ships and tankers and cruise ships, the yacht has been guarded by a sheriff's boat. Now you can see in these various images and videos that we're going to put on the screen here, these were taken by various different people, some of them who work in the area and some of them who were visiting because they saw on our channel that the boat was actually there. They went down to have a look. They sent in photographs and you can see a small boat off the beam of the vessel, the side of the vessel there, and that is a sheriff's boat. It's not completely uncommon to have that patrol boat there in the port, but the small craft seems to be there solely for sailing yacht Koru. The vessel has been there 24/7 since Bezos's yacht arrived in the port, according to people who work there and people who've been passing by, sending us the images, as I mentioned just now. We can see it in these videos, in these images, that that sheriff's boat does not move from the beam of the vessel. And that's quite interesting that his yacht is getting this special treatment like this. Now, I've been in this very port on multiple yachts, and we have never had that kind of treatment over the years. Now, one of the things that Jeff Bezos has been coming under some criticism lately over his green credentials, as he's taken delivery of not one but two super yachts. In a recent article in the New York Post, it was reported that his new yacht could generate 7,000 tons of carbon emissions per year. Now, the vessel is a sailing yacht, but they are kind of poo-pooing the idea that that somehow saves it from being a polluter. I mean, it is technically, it is better than a conventional motor yacht because it can sail across the ocean. However, it still needs to have HVAC systems, AC systems running, heating or cooling, and it obviously requires the running of generators for lighting and the AC and all of the controls and stuff on the bridge and stuff like that. So, you know, it still has generators running, so it's still using fuel as it makes that crossing. And his second yacht, the support vessel Billionaire, that is not a sailing yacht, and it carries a helicopter and that uses fuel. That's also made the trip across the Atlantic and is in Port Everglades also. This article from the New York Post and other articles that we've seen online, they compare his carbon footprint to the average person, you know, saying that he's compared to the average person, his carbon footprint is huge, right? And that's how they condemn the fact that he has the super yacht. However, he's not an average person, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, he's pledged to spend $10 billion to fight climate change by the end of the decade. So far, his fund has spent $1.84 billion, that's according to the New York Post article, including for nature conservation and reforming and transforming food systems. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but it's in the article. So what I'm trying to say about this is that if Bezos creates 7,000 tons of CO2 a year with his yachts, but he saves 100,000 tons or 1 million tons of CO2 a year with his carbon offsetting and his nature conservation, then he's still able to boast a green credential, is he not? This is what I'm saying about him not being the average person, because average people don't pledge to spend $10 billion on climate change. Now, when the average person fly on a plane, we get offered something called carbon offsetting scheme, which is like the one on screen here, which I've been offered for a flight that I'm taking next month. Now, it's a bit like that really, what he's doing, isn't it? But on a much, much larger scale. Anyway, I'd be interested to know on your opinions about that. It's always likely to generate some interesting comments. So yeah, put your opinions on that in the comment section and we'll discuss it there, or maybe in a future video. All right, so we'll move on to our next topic now, and this is about Graham Hart. A naming ceremony recently, the New Zealand Billionaire brand new vessel was named, wait for it, Ulysses. Now, no surprise there really, as both of his prior yachts that he had built in Norway had the same name whilst in his possession. The first yacht obviously being called Ulysses. He then sold that yacht when the second yacht was delivered, almost identical yacht. And when he sold that one, it was renamed Andromeda by the new owner. And then his second yacht was named Ulysses, and then he sold that yacht as well. Now, the latest yacht is a 103 meter or 337 foot yacht built by Fedship, formerly known as Project 1011. That's the build number. And it's just been named and is currently, as we make this video, out for sea trials in the North Sea, as you can see by the AIS data on screen. Now, Hart said about this new yacht that he wanted most of the features of his old yachts built by Cleven, but in a smaller, more manageable package. Now, this yacht is 103 meters or 337 feet. It's not that much smaller than the previous yacht at 106 meters or 347 foot. That was the original Ulysses. But the gross tonnage will most likely be quite a lot less, and that's what really determines the size of a vessel, the inside volume. Now, his previous two yachts were both built in Norway by Cleven, as I said, and they were massive with approximately 7,000 gross tons each. This vessel, we don't have the gross tonnage on it right now, but I would say it's probably more like 3,000 to 4,000 gross tons, judging by the photographs. Now, these original vessels, they were built by a company that builds deep sea, commercial vessels, and they both held these massive tenders which were loaded onto the bow with these equally huge cranes. Now, both of those yachts were sold to Facebook investor and Dr. Evil impersonator Yuri Milner, who renounced his Russian citizenship after the invasion of Ukraine. Hart's yacht will most likely be delivered in the next month or two. I suppose it depends really on how the sea trials go, whether or not he gets the vessel sooner or later. All right, so we'll move on. Motor yacht Axioma has arrived in Antigua as predicted. The vessel has headed there for the Yacht Charter Show, which starts on the 4th of December. The yacht is moored in the same marina as the seized Alfa Nero, which is still awaiting results of a court decision on her ownership. Now, Axioma was herself seized in Gibraltar in 2021 after docking there on the way to Turkey after an Atlantic crossing from the Caribbean. The yacht was formerly owned by Russian Dmitry Pompiansky, but was seized after he was placed on the sanctions and he owed money to JP Morgan Bank. The yacht was seized by the Gibraltar Admiralty and sold at auction. The yacht then headed to Turkey, where she was laid up close to Dunya Yachts, the shipyard that built it. And she was laid up for months there before heading back out and now trying to get back into the charter business. Now, the new owner, who's Turkish, has close ties to the former Russian owner and the shipyard that built the yacht, and that shipyard is currently constructing a support vessel that was ordered by the prior owner. Anyway, we'll move on. We've got a yacht spot here. We've got two yacht spots actually. The first one here, Motor Yacht Venus. This is the 78 meter or 257 foot yacht built by Fedship in 2012, designed by Philip Stark, who is also the designer of Motor Yacht A, and he also finished off the design of Sailing Yacht A. He didn't design the original design of Sailing Yacht A. It was already in construction when he took over and he finished it basically. The yacht was built for the late Steve Jobs, Motor Yacht Venus, and unfortunately Steve Jobs never got to enjoy the yacht as he passed away before it was completed. And the yacht is now owned by his widow. These images were taken in Fiji. Names are on screen. The yacht is valued around $120 million. Now, when the yacht was first launched, this is something I heard through the grapevine, they were using iPhones as radios through a digital repeater system. So that on board the vessel, we use UHF radios usually, and we have a repeater system which we broadcast on a certain frequency, and it's repeated through this repeater system, so it covers the entire yacht, because otherwise you've got all these steel things blocking the signal, right? So we use these digital repeaters, but as a result of that digital repeater, we're able to receive and send signals through a digital app on a phone. It's not great though. I think they gave up after a while after they realized it was a bit of disaster, and they went back to the old ways, I believe. Now, the other thing about the radios is they are beaten by the deck crew. They are known for their destruction abilities, and I'm sure the phones would not have lasted that long. So yeah, but that's an interesting side bit there. And the second yacht in our yacht spot is motor yacht Fountainhead. There's an 88 meter or 288 foot yacht built by Fedship also in 2011 at a cost of approximately $130 million. This yacht belongs to Eddie Lampart, although you will see many posts on social media saying that the yacht belongs to Mark Cuban. This is actually false, but I believe that they are friends, and the owner actually tells people the yacht is Cuban's yacht to throw them off the scent. All right, so our latest Q&A has just landed on the Patreon channel. It says, can crews who have enabled going dark on AIS and not transmitting AIS have negative outcomes in the future? If you want to see it along with the Atlantic vlog, crossing over to the Pacific, join us on patreon.com/esysman. You'll find behind the scenes videos and extras not published on YouTube, including behind the scenes videos from our recent trip to Italy, Monaco and France. We also recently made a video showing how we make the Super Yacht News videos, as well as the Patreon chat series, and you'll also get early access to YouTube features advert free. All right, don't forget to check out our Super Yacht News channel. You can type at superyacht-news into YouTube and you'll find it there. It's all of the goodness of these news videos chopped up into bite-sized chunks. You also get the full version of the Super Yacht News on there, usually 24 hours after they're posted here. All right, if you've got any information about any of the stories here or any other stories, please be sure to get in touch. You can get us in the email address in the ticker. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, on Twitter, and on Threema. Be sure to like this video, very important for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.